Something important to note, kind of like Pokemon, kind of like a lot of players during December and January, Jim, he stepped back from StarCraft. You know, he took a bit of a break. He's been playing like League of Legends, Halo, Age of Empires. Yeah, he's been, you know, streaming. He's been sleeping on stream. He's been having a hot tub stream, you know, all that good stuff. But now he's come back to StarCraft. He's back.
Oh, and he looks scary, mate. He looks scary. He's always been a good player. He plays since Wings of Liberty. Like the first time Grandmaster League was working on NA, he was a Grandmaster. Like he's literally one of the first Grandmasters in the history of StarCraft. He's been able to maintain his performance from Wings of Liberty until today. So that's something that I think he's like the only player left that has done it. Like, yeah, he's literally like a masterpiece. Like you see it on the museum. He should be there, mate. He's history from.
You know what? You know what? He's gonna be a dad too. He's gonna be a papa.
Yeah,
papi.
Yeah, I found out.
Papi Jaime.
Papi. Papi Jaime, indeed. He went. He's got a joke in Spanish. He's like, I go for them. That it's in English when you say it, it sounds so stupid, but in Spanish it makes people laugh because it sounds out of context. But you know what? Let's just introduce the play. So representing at the right, representing at the right corner.
What?
Is
no, that. Check your camera.
What? Oh, you are on the other camera. Okay, I'm so sorry. Representing at the left corner. That's where we want to see. He is the blue Protoss player from Macaco. Indeed, he is a Macaco. Actually playing for our clan, Exeditus. He's representing us in the Pro League. So welcome to our beloved player, JimRising.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have our Brazilian Zerg player representing Amantes de StarCraft. It is TheZergLord.
And there you go. TheZergLord. He is a tough opponent, I have to admit, but he's not compared to the level of Ryu. I believe both players have a significant difference of level. But still, TheZergLord, there are days that he really surprises everyone. Like, I think there was a time he even won a big tournament and he was like so proud and he played so well. It's like sometimes his performance out of context, you know, like he really impresses everyone.
Yeah.
So hopefully it could be one of those days that he can get into the finals. He's playing against a player, but it's not impossible, you know. JimRising makes mistakes. JimRising can sometimes do some blunders and not play perfect. So TheZergLord definitely has a very good chance of taking the series. But it looks kind of difficult, you know. It's hard to say who's gonna win, but I definitely say that JimRising has some sort of advantage in terms of history that has been made between both players. What do you think about this?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I would still say that TheZergLord is still one of the best players in Latino America, but he is overshadowed by players like Ryu and Eric and even Eggs in his prime. You know, he is still kind of a little bit below them, but he's still a great player. He's very stylistic and he's very different. I don't expect to see him go like Broodlord Infestor, the way that Ryu did, for example. I expect him to try to end the game earlier. I don't see him going to the late game. But we'll see. We're on Blackburn. It's a shorter map, so maybe we could see a Queen walk if he decides to go for something like that. I'm very curious to see what he gets with this Evo Chamber as well. If he goes for +1 melee or +1 range, and he goes for melee, so he's going to be going for a much more run-by-heavy composition.
Indeed. And now the Void Ray is doing some sort of damage. 2 drones have been going down already. So it's a very nice Void Ray. It's gonna get the full scout as well. And he already sees a lot of queens, which is something that's not very usual. The ZergLord loves to make these timing push attacks. He loves to go for the queen walks. So there's a high probability, there's a high chance of him seeing such strategy. But I'm very concerned now about JimRising's playstyle. He's going for that fast fleet beacon. He goes for the 3rd base at minute 5, which means it's very delayed. He's also passing through a very hard time with that block supply. So yeah, things are not very good from JimRising. He's been making a lot of mistakes.
I was gonna ask if you think JimRising was gonna go Tempest with this fleet beacon, because he is working on Flux Veins, but I've heard from a couple of Zerg players that they don't like queen walking on Blackburn anymore because like Tempest play can like really punish that just because of how short this is by air.
Indeed, and it's true. It's actually true. Tempest can be headache to you, but I don't think we are going to see that. JimRising never uses Tempest. What he loves to go for is the macacada, you know. He definitely goes for the macacada. Look, 3 overlords are gonna die in this. Very good aggression from JimRising. A queen goes down. It was a very nice trade from him. He didn't lose a single Void Ray. He didn't even lose HP from the Void Ray, so it was a nice trade. He also scouted the main base, which is very important as well. And yeah, what I was saying before, he loves to go for the macacada, so he will try to go for these very abusive styles, like mass Void Ray, just Void Rays, go for the +2 immediately, then go for mass charge or disruptors. And, you know, he always loves to go for the most OP units.
He's killing all the queens. All the queens are dying, mate. They're all getting picked up one after the other. There are only 2 left, and the high energy queen goes down. This is it. This is the last queen.
Oh my god, a hatchery is going down actually. This game over.
Mate.
Oh no.
It's over, mate. It's over. There's 2 queens in the sport left. Oh god, he finally gets pushed away. He's forced back because of a Ling run by.
Oh look, I don't think this is just Mutalisk are now on the way. Though carriers are gonna do a huge difference. Mutalisk have a chance to make JimRising's economy look very bad, you know. So he's still in the game, but he's in a very bad position.
Yeah, exactly. Like, those Void Rays almost snowballed. Like, there's a world where if there wasn't this Spore, they could have kept going. Maybe they could have killed the Spire as well. Like, they were getting so much damage done. Meanwhile, the Mutas are coming out, and as you said, it looks like they're going across the map to hit that mineral line.
Yeah, and now the gold base is gonna get punished. The queens, I don't think they're gonna be ready to defend this. He needs to micro them. There you go, some transfuses are going on the way, but 4 queens are going down. The drones are gonna get killed, plus the hatchery. This is very bad for the ZergLord. He's been losing too much, and now he's gonna try to look. He can perhaps get the first carrier, then go for the Artosis pylon, and that will be a nice play. Oh my god, he's
going for it!
Yes! He did! But no, he went for the probes. Mate, you got the chance, and now the Voiders are gonna be back to defend. JimRising knew about the Artosis pylon. He's like, no, mate, you cannot snipe that. He's just gonna recall. And I think this is over. This is just over. There's no chance of the ZergLord coming back from the game.
Yeah, GG gets called, and JimRising will take the first game of this series.
Oh no, that was so sad. There was a minute of hope, you know?
Yeah,
Damn
like
it.
those Void Rays, they can get out of hand quickly. This is the difference between like the ZergLord and Ryu. Like we always know how adamant Ryu is with his scouting, right? With his Overlord scouting. And we see, like, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. Ryu, quite often, he relies a lot on Infestors early on. On Queen Infestor early on, before he gets to the Spire tech. And with that, you can go toe-to-toe with, like, a higher amount of those Void Rays. But with what we saw there, like the ZergLord just barely didn't have enough. He didn't have enough transfuse energy either. Like, he was trying to hold on, and it was heartbreaking to watch.
I told you, mate. I told you the Macacada is real. He just went mass Void Ray +1. Just go across the map and do your thing. That's it. And that's what JimRising does every time. He just goes for that unit that he knows is very abusive and just goes for the Macacada. When he plays Zerg, he's like, Mutalisks are OP when they are in mass. Let's go for it. Nobody's gonna expect it. Nobody believes in Mutalisks because they suck, but when they come out of nowhere, they can just end the game. And he knows it. Void Rays as well. When you mess them up in such speed and you make all the upgrades that the Void Ray has, they can be very relentless, no mercy.
Yeah. They can be very, very punishing, and the ZergLord...
the word you love, mate. Yeah, you love to be punished. Come on, admit it. You actually deserve to be punished because you said that Ryu was gonna win the game easily, and Paco Mike just 2-1 won that series. Like,
yeah, I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your face there. You're sad. You wanted Paco Mike to lose. You wanted that punishment. I'm sorry.
No,
no. You're not gonna get it. It's not happening. But
you're a liar. You're a liar. Yeah, you actually you owe me at least $100. you owe me, mate.
Oh,
everyone saw. Look, everyone in this chat knows that you said that if Paco Mike wins, you will give me $100 and a contract to the CranKy Ducklings. You said it, mate. It's on the stream. I actually clipped it.
Oh my god, the copium is real. Oh god damn it, Cristiano. Well, regardless of all of that, we are diving into game number 2, and I am excited because Jim is still Protoss, and we are entering a map with a gold base. Is JimRising enough of a Chad to go full zest and take the gold?
I don't know. I don't think he's gonna do it. He's not going to do it because I believe JimRising is the guy that loves to do builds that he prepares. And since it's such a new build, you need to practice it at least a little bit, in order to know the variations and what to do if X happens. But that's why I think JimRising is just going to something much sane. He will go for the pylon, perhaps a cannon rush, Nexus first. Those could be the most crazy builds that he could do, but... Oh, wait, what? Why is that probe going across the map so fast? Oh, my god.
Mate, are you gonna... What are you doing?
Oh my god, I'm sorry, I was just in shock. Like, you know what, I'm gonna present him, but... You know what, let's just do it now. Things get too out of hand. Representing at the top left corner. Blue, he is Protoss player from Mexico, the legend, the guy that should be in a museum, the macaco himself, JimRising.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pride of Altares LE, we have the Brazilian Zerg player representing Amantes of StarCraft down in the series, but he isn't out. Not yet. It is TheZergLord.
I was actually scared. I was like, mate, why is Jim so fast across the map? And he tried to delay the hatchery, but as you guys can see, the probe is very sad. He's like looking at the hatchery. He's like, I failed, you guys. I'm coming home, but I didn't do the job. Please don't punish me the way Light is gonna get punished. Please don't. Have some mercy. And I think the probe is so scared that he really doesn't want to go. It's like Light right now. He doesn't want to pay me $100. like trying to buy as much time as possible in order to not do it. Like he's really avoiding the situation.
Hey,
Poor little
Hey,
pro.
I pay people what they're worth, mate. All right, so you gotta
Oh.
gotta work up to it, mate, buddy. All right. Shaking my head. Este Cristiano, not just Cristiano, Zura también. They're trying to sneak their way into the CranKy Ducklings. No, mate, it's not that easy. All right, it's not that easy to be un pato. Just like it's not that easy to deny a hatchery. Even though JimRising zoomed across the map with that probe, he couldn't deny it. He couldn't delay it. And the ZergLord, his bases, they're up in time. You know, things are looking okay for him here in the early game.
Yeah, just like the last game, JimRising, since this is not his main race, he's been doing a lot of macro mistakes that are actually like little mistakes, but can actually be reflected in the other side of the map. That adept should be already on the other side, scouting, seeing if there's any chance to get a drone or something to force some links. But no, he's very passive. He doesn't want to let go that adept, and he's actually a little bit scared. And because of it, he's now losing on workers. He's gonna have to. Actually, I thought he was losing on. What? Are you kidding me? No, that's what I wanted to see. The ZergLord winning on workers account, because that's what makes sense. I mean, he's been able to drone up without any problems at all. The over gonna get a full scout. The ZergLord should be on the driving seat. He should be taking the wheels. I mean, he really in a very good spot, and JimRising needs to think with the Void Rise just like last game. Otherwise, I wouldn't be such a good position if I were him.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he is going for that second Stargate, so he's going double Stargate Void Ray for the time being. But as you were saying, he's just a little bit more afraid of potentially the ZergLord, like quote unquote being upset after the last loss and being more aggressive. So as a result, he is being more passive and letting the ZergLord drone up to his heart's content. But will that matter? Because at the end of the day, if JimRising shows up with like 6 Void Rays and kills a couple of hatcheries, then, you know, that's just that's just what Jim does, you know.
Yeah, you're actually right. I think JimRising is gonna do the Macacala once again. He's got the double Stargate. His expansions once again, it's gonna be very late. That's why I don't like these types of moves, because if they don't work, you're in a really bad position. You don't have a way to fight against the Zerg, because he will have already 4 bases while you are just actually mining your third. So if the Void Rays don't do anything, such a bad spot, you know.
Exactly. It's going to be all about JimRising's control with these Void Rays. He doesn't want to show his hand and reveal his hand too early, and he doesn't want to lose any of these Void Rays before he gets that mass amount. Meanwhile, once again, plus on melee is on the way, and the ZergLord is setting up for that Ling run by.
Yeah, it's gonna actually work, because there's only one single adept. The battery shield is very exposed, so Zerlings can do actually whatever they want to do. The pylon is actually gonna get sniped, which is actually worse than the battery shield getting sniped. And look, the Zerlings have no mercy. They know there's blood in the water, and they want to deny the third base, but luckily the Void Rays show up and defend that third base.
Yeah, but that's a lot of Lings, mate. Like, oh god. The ZergLord, I'm sure he's waiting for the Void Rays to leave, recognize that this base is once again vulnerable and unsafe, and then go for that counterattack once again. Meanwhile, Jim, he's got his Void Rays. He's ready to just go. But the ZergLord this time has a lot of queens, and this time has a lot of energy for transfuse.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna do much for pricing. But look, four queens are actually exposed. Are we actually gonna see a good defense from him? Yes, it's gonna be actually a very good defense, like the concave that he made. And look at the Zerlings on the other side. The battery is actually exposed, so it's gonna be sniped once again. JimRising has not been able to mine from third base, and that's what I was talking about. Those Zerlings, although they almost all died, they're doing their job. The third base is not mining. And at the other side of the map, the ZergLord is already taking the fourth gold base. He's already making a lot of drones. He's in a very comfortable position. And look at the gas that he's banking. That is because he wants to go once again for the Muta, the Corruptor. That's something that hopefully he goes for the Corruptor. These Mutalisks are not a good unit in these types of position. Please, mate, please.
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to go for. The Spire just finished up. Meanwhile, the Void Rays do reveal themselves, but once again, there are plenty of queens here on the front lines. We got spores being thrown down as well. We're still waiting for that unit of choice for the ZergLord, but again, right now, he's looking much better than last game.
Much better. And the creep spread also is not the best, but it's doing the job. It allows the queens to take control over his base so that he can get a very good defense with the queens. And the spore crawlers are in a very nice spot. Void Rays have not been able to find any sort of damage more than just killing some creep, and I love it. I love how the ZergLord learned from his mistake, and now he's in a very good spot. I mean, JimRising, he's struggling right now. He needs to get more drones. Luckily enough for him, he's gonna actually get one, but look at the Mutalisk. Mate.
They dive on top of the Void Rays. They snipe 2 Void Rays just before the recall goes off, and now they're zooming across the map. JimRising, he's already been working on these carriers. They're coming out, but is that gonna be really enough? He doesn't have too many Void Rays. I know Mutas aren't amazing, but with enough of them, they can overwhelm Void Rays.
Yeah, the battery shield is gonna be key in this defense. If the ZergLord's got more Mutalisk, he could just go for the battery shield. But look, the Queen Walk, that's what I was talking about. He loves to go for these types of moves. He loves to go for the Queen Walks in late stages of the game. Minute 9, the Queens are already at the third base. Zerlings, Banelings on the way, killing the static defense, and now only Void Rays are available. Would you imagine if the JimRising had Disruptors? Oh my god, it would have been so deadly, but unluckily for him, he's not gonna be able to work with those. Only 2 bases for him, while the ZergLord with 5. Even if he loses absolutely everything, he's still in a nice spot because of the usage of that third base. So, mate, Light, what's the hope here?
Exactly, like there's no threat to the Mutas. There's no Archons, there's no Storm, there's nothing on the ground. There are only a handful of Void Rays and just more and more carriers. Meanwhile, the ZergLord, I'm surprised he turns around, but as you said, he doesn't need to force himself up this ramp. He can just keep denying the third base over and over again, and he is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and now Creep is already getting into that third base. So very bad news from JimRising. Those queens are now gonna be more effective. They're going to be more dynamic as well. So he's not gonna be able to take a third base like never. I mean, the ZergLord is just gonna deny it all over and all over again. And those Mutalisks can be actually traded. And once you trade them, killing all the economy, you start to go mass corruptor. I think the ZergLord should trade some Zerlings and some queens so that he can go for mass corruptors, so that he can kill the carriers and go for final blow. And now he's actually trying to go for it, but he's gonna lose a 10 probes are not gonna be really justified. And this is very strange game. JimRising, I don't know how he's still alive.
Well, it's one of the things you just mentioned it, where the ZergLord, he can afford to lose some of these Mutas and trade them out. As soon as he lost, 4 or 5 Mutas, 10 Corruptors are on the way. So he is slowly refining his army, showing up once again with these queens, and unfortunately there's no shield battery, there's no overcharge, it's just queens and just a handful of carriers, and the interceptors are all going down.
Yeah, and the transfuses are so good from the Brazilian player, and look at the interceptors, they're all dying. There's no longer interceptors for the carriers. So those carriers, although they represent a lot of army supply, their value are absolutely none, like doesn't exist. And look at the mass corruptor now that are coming on the way. JimRising knows it. I think it's time to type out, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is being focused down. It looks like the Zealots may clean up the queens, but the Corruptors focus down every single one of these carriers, and then they are free to caustic spray down the Nexuses, the buildings, and GG gets called.
It was a completely different game. The ZergLord literally learned from his mistakes. I love it. I mean, that's how a pro gamer is built. You know, like when you get killed by a singular build, you never get killed by that same build ever again. That's what a pro gamer should be made of. You know, you can pull up some crazy builds and get a single win, but you will never be able to use that same build again, because otherwise the opponent already knows what to do against it. And that's what happened here. JimRising used the same build. The ZergLord learned from his mistakes. He knew that he needed more queens, not only 5 or 6, he needed 9 at least, with full energy, and then go for an economical approach. And that's what he did. And he showed up with Mass Queen Mutalisk attack at minute 9, and he was able to win. Congratulations, the ZergLord, you're the best. 1-1. There's a chance that you arrived into the semifinals, to the finals, if everything goes your plan.
Yeah, exactly. Now the onus is on JimRising. It's on him to do something different. As you said, we're in the ace match. He is crazy if he tries to go for Mass Void Ray again. I don't think it's going to work, especially because we're going into another large map. He has to do something a little bit different. And if he did, Cristiano, what would that be?
There's a lot of ways you can change the approach. I mean, you could go for Phoenix. Yeah, I think you can go for the other way. JimRising changed the approach. Wait, did I? Am I mistaken? I think I heard some.
I was gonna say, as we're all loading into the lobby, I was gonna say,
What did you ask?
I was asking, what do you think Jim is gonna go for here, if not Mass Void Ray? And what you said.
Oh yeah, I listened. Yeah, I listened right then. I was scared. I was like, perhaps I'm saying something.
It's all good.
Out of context.
It's all good.
Okay.
So you were saying you'll bring up maybe something like Phoenixes, maybe something like, I don't know, Blink Stalker. We were talking about it. JimRising, when he plays, he goes for la macacada, right? He goes for he goes full rancio, right?
I think he's going for Mass Carrier.
Mass Carrier. Oh my god.
With disruptors.
Okay.
I think that's gonna be the way.
Oh! He's not playing Kronos!
He's playing Zerg. He wants to win those $10, mate. He wants to get the insurance. Like, he's like, you know what, the ZergLord? I had enough fun. Let's go for the series play. Like, let's just go for it. So representing at the top right corner, playing as Zerg, as the best Mexican Grandmaster Zerg that has ever lived. Nah, I'm just kidding. Cham is better than you. It is JimRising.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2,000 Atmospheres LE, going for a 12 pool, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. He just won the last game, tied it up, forces JimRising to play his main race. Representing Amantes to StarCraft, it is TheZergLord.
Just amazing. I thought he was going Protoss again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's serious, mate. He's like, you know what? Let's just active the series mode. I want to be based. And what?
Yeah,
what?
Let's go!
I mean, the real based guy.
What? The spine! No, he missed it! No! He messed up! He wanted to make a spine!
He missed it.
Oh.
Joe, why did Why did he make the? Oh no,
Yeah,
that's so bad.
last time he misclicked and accidentally went for an Evo chamber instead, so already a lot of minerals down the drain. It's not over, but this delays the spine. A bunch of minerals just wasted.
Oh no.
Ugh.
And this is very interesting. I mean, is JimRising gonna be able to defend it? It's a question mark, like what's happening here?
Yeah, I think Jim is fine. What throws this off is the spine. The spine is gonna make things a little bit different. Lings are on the way for Jim. Queens as well. He hasn't pulled the boys yet, but the spine is about to reveal itself, and it looks like the ZergLord is gonna get a kill in the natural base.
Oh yeah, indeed. And actually the ZergLord was instantly against the Zerglings because he knows he's winning in terms of army supply. But as you guys can see, JimRising got the better army army concave, and now he's going for the spine crawler. He's gonna get the hatchery, which is a very good victory, but he needs to do more than that. He needs to kill some drones and force more Zerglings, which is something that it's not really happening. And as you guys can see, 18 workers against 15 on the long run. The ZergLord is gonna start having some sort of economical advantage, but on the more short term, JimRising has a chance to level it up.
Yeah.
So I'm actually a little bit worried about. I don't really know who's winning, but JimRising now has some sort of advantage. But on the long term, what do you think about this?
I mean, it was really unfortunate because I don't know if you noticed, but the ZergLord, if he hadn't made that mistake in the early game, he killed that hatchery, but 1 second too late, because as soon as he killed the hatchery, the queen came out. Like, he could have maybe denied the queen as well, and as a result, he's not in the best position here. Jim, he's already got plenty of gas. What's very important, he is not getting Ling speed. He is skipping Ling speed, and now he has options. If he wants to, after this queen, he can go straight into a lair.
Indeed. This is very interesting. I mean, JimRising is actually gonna prove us that he is gonna indeed have some sort of advantage, but he's not using his drones, the main base. What's happening? Maybe.
Yeah,
There you go.
There we go. There we go. He's rotating his drones down to the natural base. I'm still waiting to see what the gas is going to be spent on, because look how much gas he's banking up. He's getting borrow. Okay. No.
What was that?
So
I was already like, how are you gonna use borrow? Are you gonna use a borrow Baning? Perhaps that would have been such a crazy. But no, it's not happening. That would have been so crazy, like TLO gameplay. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, this lair, it feels late, because we saw how much gas he had. He could have gotten this earlier. I think he chose not to because he wanted a wall first to make sure that it didn't get scattered. But because he waited so long, the ZergLord, like, he was able to catch up. The drone count is the same, and the ZergLord's lair is even not that far behind Jim's.
Yeah, I think Jim is preparing go for an attack, and I don't know if it's a good decision because the ZergLord is at 2 bases as well. He's just getting the 3rd base, and I think it's a good decision because the ZergLord's got more initiative than JimRising. Now he's getting a lot of roaches, and there might be a slight chance of JimRising of getting more army supply than the ZergLord, and perhaps he can kill the 3rd base, but it's all theoretical. I mean, I need to see the result. I'm not actually to predict if JimRising is gonna win the approach that he's going to have at the 3rd base or not. I don't even know if he's gonna attack at the 1st place. Yeah, he's moving out. I think he really wants to be aggressive, and once he goes for the aggression, he will take the 3rd base. It'll be a very interesting approach, and already a 2nd over gonna die. And as you guys can see, the ZergLord once again he's supply blocked, and this is allowing JimRising to get on top of the army supply composition. He's gonna have more roaches, and it scared me.
Exactly, the Roaches are about to rock up here at this third base. Is there enough to defend? It looks like there should be, but JimRising, a very nice timing. +1 is about to finish up in a couple of seconds, but it's not done yet. He can't hit until that upgrade is done. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's fun to see low against Roaches, kind of like a slow motion attack. But I think now that JimRising, because of the upgrade advantage that he will have, he's gonna try to take advantage of it. And the ZergLord, actually, he's not attacking. He just does 2 roaches. Let's go for a third one, fourth, and look, he's starting to snowball. What's happening here?
Yeah, exactly. Roach speed kicked in for Jim, and he chased everything all the way down. As you said, 4 roaches went down for free. The spine isn't even borrowed yet. He needs a couple more seconds. With the spine, though, and the queens, it looks like it just barely will be enough for the ZergLord to defend.
Yeah, it didn't really matter the upgrade advantage, because the spine crawler is gonna do the job at defense. And wait a minute, what's happening here? What is JimRising with?
Hey, Jim is not stopping. He is not droning up. He's making nothing but roaches right now. He breaks through into the natural base. The queens, there was only 1 there. The rest went to transfuse. A couple of reinforcements are coming out, but Jim, he is rallying everything across the map.
Yeah, and the Overseer sees everything. The ZergLord knows he does not have to drone. He needs to make as many roaches as he can, and the battle is so intense. You don't know who's winning. JimRising seems to have the initiative. He's got the army supply advantage, but the defense advantage from the ZergLord is much better, and he still has a chance to defend this, but it looks so damn difficult. Just JimRising, he's snowballing him.
Yeah, exactly. He's not letting the ZergLord get a high enough roach count. They just keep falling time and time again. And honestly, this all does kind of go back to the fact that the ZergLord lost 4 roaches for free in the beginning. He gave JimRising that opportunity to just take advantage of everything. And now here he is in the natural base, and GG gets called.
JimRising, he did it again. He is in the finals. Oh my god, what a game. What a game. Wow.
GG, well played. It's one of those things where even though Jim lost his natural base, he had a lot of gas. He had a very nice upgrade timing. He had +1 range. He had +1 carapace. He had roach speed. All before the ZergLord. And the ZergLord, yeah, that's unfortunate. It didn't start off well for him. It didn't start off well.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting JimRising to play as Zerg, so he was really playing with his full potential. Like, he was like Hulk. Like, he was very pissed, and yeah, he demonstrated us that when he plays in a serious manner, he's tough. You know, he's difficult to handle. And the ZergLord, with little mistakes he made, he lost the game. The 2 overlords that he lost, they were key in the defense. You know, 2 less larva. It was almost like a 40-second supply cap. I mean, it was hell from our Brazilian player, the ZergLord. JimRising, with these little mistakes, he was able to take such a huge advantage. I mean, the ZergLord was really in a good spot, you know, but because of those little mistakes, I believe JimRising was able to take the lead. And congratulations to him, because not many players walk those queens so far out of the creep in order to get the overlords, you know.
Yeah.
It's pure experience, man.
Yeah, there's only a handful of players. I know Jim does it a lot. Cham does it every now and then as well. And Mio Micah from Southeast Asia, like they're so bold with them. Like those queens are so exposed, but at the same time they also know that there aren't like any lings really threatening them, so they can kind of get away with that. And it can be so frustrating as a Zerg player to lose overlords. Like, it's so especially in ZvZ. Like, there's no excuse. You shouldn't be losing your overlords like that, but he just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to the finals. It's gonna be JimRising against Paco Mike. It's gonna be a PBZ unless JimRising goes crazy and goes for a PvP. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna do it.
No,
I think he really appreciates Paco Mike's skill. He's gonna respect him. He's gonna be like, you know what? I cannot beat you with my Protoss. I gotta go full Zerg. I'm pretty sure he's gonna opt into that sort of response.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a very interesting PvC. It's gonna be a really high level play.
It's
I'm actually excited.
Yeah, it's one of those things with JimRising. He does off-race his Protoss, but only against Zerg players. He doesn't play it against Terran. He doesn't play it against Protoss. That is where his Zerg comes out. Because he can't abuse Void Rays the same way in the other matchups, you know? It's not... he can't do it, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.